long time, and to thank and to share their experience. There's something so, all three shows, I'm not kidding, all three shows, and I have on my website I posted some of the things that people went out of their way to post on the Facebook page of the death monologues of their experience and what they're saying about it, because I just felt so grateful and also so humbled. I mean, normally when I've done shows in the past, when you get praise and all that, you're like, yes, good job, I'm a great artist, but this was like, it's so not personal, and at the same time it is, that it became very humbling, and it's just like, well, I just want to keep doing this, I just want to keep doing it, and I felt the need as well that people need to share their experience of it, so that's part of the plan in the future, is to have workshops following. I don't like to call them workshops because they seem so active. It's more like a conversation after, where people can share their experiences, and then we can also do some experiments together there with death, which I've done plenty of workshops in different ways with death and dying. So like incorporating different facets of this into the experience that we all can share together after witnessing the show. So it's been huge. Plus, we're raising money to get to New York. So people were so generous with, first of all, the tickets, but then afterwards saying if you'd like to donate for getting the show to New York after they've had the experience and they feel that it's very worthwhile, then they were donating, and so we were very grateful for that support as well. So, like I said, yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to ask about New York. The Death Monologues has been chosen, is that right, for the International Theater Festival in New York? So that's what you're raising money just to help you get there, because the play has already been selected, but you need a little help just to get there.
The Fringe Festival, it's the 18th year that they've been doing this in New York. It's the largest international theater festival in North America. They have an audience of about 80,000 people, and they have about 150 shows that are selected out of like close to 1,000 or more people who submit their plays there. When the deadline for submitting our play was so early that we had no material to send besides the cover letter, which is, really important, how you express your passion, your enthusiasm, and why this is an important play to get into that festival. And I sent them the script, because I didn't even have a website then. I didn't have pictures. I just had the script and the letter. And I was very surprised that it got selected, but at the same time, I was like, wow, so this is big, So in the meantime, from that's in April till now, we have, now a website, we have pictures, we have a dear friend, Larry, who's volunteered to make a video of it, for promotion purposes, and just, I had two psychotherapists, two different shows, come up to me and ask to buy the DVD when I have it, because they want to show it to their patients. I'm like, wow, this is great, this is part of what this is about. So we're trying to get to New York. It's an endeavor, costly endeavor, but I believe that the momentum and the exposure that this festival will do for the Death Monologues is absolutely invaluable. So if I have to, borrow the money, whatever. I mean, we're having great support on our Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign. It's really nice to see people that are, even people who haven't seen the show who are just supporting this and just believing it. So that's really great. But we will get there. We have 23 days left in our campaign to reach our goal. And if we don't reach our goal, we still get what we made, which they just take a bigger percentage of it than if we did reach it. So we're off to New York, and then after New York, we want to start planning our U.S. tour, taking it to different places where we're called to go to, whether it be theaters and or, hospice homes, hospitals, schools, prisons, and then, tying that up with a workshop or a follow-up conversation exchange. It could be the next day. That's really how I envisioned this whole thing And we got gifted, about a few months ago, we got gifted a caravan to tie up to our truck so we are mobile, you know. It's such a simple set. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's very simple. It's just one person, very simple set, you know. So we wanted to make it very portable, very easy to just set up and go, you know.
Well, I wanted to remind our listeners that we are taking questions or comments today, and if you have a question, if you're on the phone line and you have a question, you can press *2 on the keypad of your phone, and that will signal me that you have a question ready. I will then call on you and unmute your line. And if you're listening online with a webcast on your computer, if you go to the box on the lower left side of the screen, you can type your question in and push submit, and I'll be able to read the question. So feel free anytime now to just press *2 if you have questions to ask for Giselle, and until we get questions, we'll just keep talking. I'm going to look over on the webcast just to see if anything's come in yet. I did have someone submit some questions beforehand. She wanted to know what was the most memorable audience reaction to the performance, if there's one reaction. And I think, well, you told me a story before we got on the phone. I was hoping maybe you would share that.
Oh yeah, that's definitely memorable. There was a woman who came into the theater before it opened to buy a ticket, and she told the theater owner that she hasn't stepped out of her house in about 2 months, and because her family, she had a very difficult time with death. Her whole family had died within like the last year. And so she was very, she heard about this in the newspaper. We got some great coverage in the newspaper. So she heard about it, and she went to buy a ticket with so much fear or hesitation, and she told the theater owner, she said, I'm not sure that that I should do this, because, I mean, it's called the Death Monologues, you know, for a reason. We don't want to sugar-coated, or, you know, and I know that title might deter people from coming, and it's usually those people that would probably benefit most from it. But she was one of them who was like, okay, this is not something that I probably should do right now, but it was like she was being called to go there anyway, and she bought a ticket. She says, I guess I'm going to see it, and we'll see, you know. And at the end of the show, she came up to the director, Kathy Hartenstein, and she said, I really want to thank you. You know, with tears in her eyes, I want to thank you for this. This is exactly what I needed, and it brought forth some sort of release for her that was really stifling, obviously, for what she'd gone through, you know. So that was definitely, you know, it's like that's one woman, you know, one person that, you know, if it happens like that each time, that's all worth it. But it's happening in larger numbers. I mean, there was another woman who stopped me. She was the first woman who spoke to me after the show on Sunday, and with tears in her eyes again, an older woman, saying how she was resisting her sister's death. One of the lines that death says is like, you know, every story must come to an end. You know, when your loved one is facing their end, do you choose to look away, you know, or do you want to receive this as a gift, you know, or what do you want to leave behind when it's your turn? You know, a gift, a giant boulder of guilt and regret, you know. So the final monologue is my own mother's death story, and that's what a big realization I came to in the journey, is that I was doing everything to fight it, to challenge it. I mean, I you know, everything. And at some point, I was shown by death that this was her final act, the ending of her heroic time here on Earth. And I was serving a crucial role in this. and so is everybody else. Who, if you're there, you're there for a reason. You have meaning in this final act for the person that you love. So this woman with tears in her eyes was saying, you know, she resisted it so much, and she felt, and her sister was like, no, this is my ending, you know, this is, and it gave her that acceptance. She was so touched by it, and was relieved of the guilt, was relieved of the fear of, like, you didn't do enough, or you could have done, you know, something else, or, you know, that it was absolutely perfect as it went, and it was a validation. Again, another release, you know, free of the guilt, free of the fear, free of the doubt that you didn't do it right, or you could have done it different and it would have ended different, you know. You're not in control. Death is always the director of the final act, you know, so that was another,
Yes, I just love those stories, and when you think about the arts have such a profound ability to touch people deeply, and I can just see the power of the theater and presenting death on stage in such a way as really touching people who may not have been reached by anything else. And I think that right now in our society, there are lots of us who are trying to increase the conversation about the end of life and get people talking about it and thinking about it. And so it seems to me we need every modality we can possibly utilize to get the message out there. So I'm really impressed with what you're doing in the theater, and because you are probably touching people who wouldn't be touched by something else, by by a book or some other modality. It's the people who want to come and see it live and see it performed for them on the stage who are so moved.
Right. Yeah, and there's two reasons for that. The first one, or in no specific order, but I'm sure the first one is that I know in my own personal journey, I am most affected by things when I am just voluntarily receiving them. You know what I mean? Like it's not a workshop. It's not like you have to. You know, you're being taught this. So touched by art. I guess that's the best way to put it. You know, you see a film that completely touches your life in a way that you never expected and that you'll never forget. My medium is theater, so I've seen pieces that just. So you're almost going for the entertainment of it, and the fact that and you will be entertained. That's the bottom line. I can guarantee that you will be entertained. The rest, I don't know, but that through the entertainment, through like, okay, somebody's doing a show for me here. You're taking on this ride, and you can come out with a whole different perspective, with a healing, with a release, with an understanding that wasn't there before. So that's the one thing. That's how I can be impacted most in my experience. So I'm like, I'm doing it that way because it's so effective, right? The other thing is that there are two places that are my favorite places to be in the world. One of them is on stage. The other one is in bed. So if I can make my life going from bed to stage around like that, I'm very happy.
Well, it strikes me that, you know, those of us in this end-of-life arena who want to do everything possible to get our society talking and thinking about death and dying and the end of life, that you really could use our support in your project because well, for one thing, financially, you could use some donations to help you get to New York City, because that will be a huge breakthrough if you're able to present this at the festival in New York City. But then also for those of us who are maybe in communities working in hospices, who might have connections or have the means to help you set up something, you know, set up a chance to present the death monologues in communities around the country. So there might be listeners who have connections like that could also help you.
That would be wonderful. That is really great, because that is the goal. I mean, that's the life after the premiere, so to speak. You know, first New York, and I do believe that things will